Well, hi there. This is Big E here in Portland, Oregon. I am doing a recording of the Rise of Neotech call tonight. I believe tonight's the full 2 hours of the Rise of Neotech, but you know, if you've been following me for any length of time, you know how this call is. They always have an excuse to bring someone else up and talk, as always. So, hang on just a second. I'm going to tweet that I'm live right now. Hold on just a second here. I'm just tweeting out my stream and posting it on YouTube, letting people know that I'm on. All right. Glad to see you. Glad to know someone is watching, ready to go. And I'll be dialing in the number here in just a second. So you all get to hear the Rise of Neotech call here tonight. I'm going to try to do the 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 whole 2 hour and 55 minutes or whatever it is. I'm going to try to do the whole hour and 55 minutes or whatnot. But anyways, I'm going to get kind of set up here, give people a chance to tune into my live stream. By the way, if you're wondering what the weather is, it's really dark and dingy here in the Pacific Northwest. It's not too bad right now. I'm going to let you look outside. How about that? Before I dial in. I'm outside right now. That's the outside weather. We got a couple clouds above us. It rained just a little bit. All right, back to me now. Just wanted to show you the outside on my patio. All right, we're going to dial into the number at this time. So we're going to dial in. So hang on just a second.
Welcome. This service is provided by freeconferencecall.com. Please enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign. If you are the host, press star now. Otherwise, please wait and you will be joined into the conference.
All right, obviously no one's on the line at this time, but they will be shortly coming on to the on the line here in just a few minutes. Those on YouTube, This is the Rise of Neotech, and I want to show you the book that they're going to be talking out of. I received this book. Someone's on the line. I received my book on September 22nd of 2016. So, hello. I'll show you the book.
Hello?
There it is.
Whoever's speaking, you're breaking up and not making complete connection.
So that's the Rise of Neotech book, which this call doesn't cover very well. So I just want to let you guys know, callers are now just coming on to the line. Should pick up here in just momentarily. This call will probably start about 4:03.
Anybody there?
Yeah, there it is.
Well, this is Lavelle Chisholm in McAllister, Oklahoma.
This is
Real members communicating. I'll let you listen into the communication, how they communicate with each other. This is interaction.
Look forward to hearing him.
Well, good evening from Kentucky. This is William.
Hi, William. This is Forrest in Oregon.
Yeah, I used to live in Oregon.
Is that right?
Cool. Yeah, I taught out there for 43 years.
Well, that's quite a few years.
Yeah. And then greetings to Oklahoma, too. I spent a couple of years there.
Yeah.
Well, my wife taught school, elementary school, 3rd and 4th grade for 36 years here in Oregon. So she moved around 3 different places and taught. Very good teacher.
Yeah, I was quite successful, too. I started out in elementary, moved to middle school, and then high school, and on to community college. You know.
Oh, you went up then?
Yeah. Well, I've been a student all my life. You know, I just.
Well, there's something to be said about that. You can sure learn a lot.
Well, being in Oregon, we had summers off, and I used my summers to go ahead with extra graduate work. Wound up with a PhD.
Wow, you're pretty good then.
Yeah, I made a good.
High school and college, and then I couldn't afford to go to college anymore, so I went to work in Portland, Oregon, and then from then on, I've been studying on my own for the rest of my life.
Well, that's pretty much typical of me. Yeah, and I'm still studying. I've been with the Neothink. Started out, I guess it's about 4 years ago, and I've studied the books. I mean, not just read them. I actually study them.
Well, that's the way to do it. That's the way to learn.
Yeah. So, at any rate, where's everybody?
I don't know. They're not on yet, I guess.
This is George from Washington State.
I'm here. I'm still waiting.
Oh, there's somebody.
Get on. This is Ann.
Hi, good evening. Looking from Maryland.
I'm
Good
enjoying
evening.
your teachers talking.
Good evening, Rita, Massachusetts.
This is George from Washington State.
Hi, Andrea.
Hi.
Karen Bowers from Tennessee.
Edison, Georgia. What's up?
You are? We have snow here.
Is Amy Meyer on by any chance?
We had a couple inches last night.
Pardon me?
We have a lot of rain.
The snow last night. That's what I said.
Oh, it snowed last night. I see.
Yeah, I live in Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah, this is Kansas City. We had 7 inches snow.
Oh boy.
And this is
An
George
inch
from
of ice.
Washington State.
You must be in the area where I saw it on news. They've had a lot of snow, so.
You guys beat us then.
This is Donald
That's
from
no
Utah.
really do.
This is George from Washington State. We didn't have the snow, we were having a lot of rain.
Northwest rain. Yeah.
I haven't seen any snow here yet, but that's not saying too much. It's been pretty cold.
Well, Kansas City's weather hit the Great Lakes, so there didn't snow there.
Well, I've heard about those places, all right.
Yeah, right.
I saw pictures years ago of firefighters that were spraying water on a burning building, and it was so cold there that the water was freezing right out of the hose. All over the side of the burning building. That's how cold it was.
Oh,
Well, hi, Elaine Bennett from Arkansas.
Hey, Elaine.
Hi. That's interesting.
Hello,
Hi,
California.
Hi.
From Utah.
Michigan.
Hi, Raymond.
Where in Utah are you from?
Colorado.
O-T-D-O-N.
Hi, Rebel from California.
This is Rick in Louisiana.
Now, Mike from Colorado.
Hello, this is Apio, calling from Philadelphia.
Hi.
Eddie.
Where's
David from San Jose.
This is
I
the
hate it.
Tuesday night Rise of Neotech School of Genius call, and right now you're hearing interaction amongst members.
Good evening, welcome.
Hi,
So we'll go back to the interaction. Listen to this.
Hey,
Judge from ATL.
Hey, Gene, welcome to the
Hi,
call.
Judge. Hello.
Hello.
Robert from Mississippi.
Hey, welcome to the call. How you doing?
Hello, Steve. This is Randy in
Good
Los
night.
Angeles.
Hey, Randy, welcome to the call.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome to the call. Hey, Steve, this is George, Washington State. Hello, George. How's it going? Oh, pretty good. Good.
Raymond, Colleen, Texas.
Hey, Raymond, welcome to the call.
Glad to be here.
Thank you. Glad you have you. Glad to have you on. Hello. Welcome to the call.
Hey, it's Kay.
Hey, Kay, welcome.
Hi, Kay.
Hi, Kay. Hi, Kay.
Hey, Kay, how are you?
Hi, Kay. Judith in Austin.
Hi,
Hi,
Judith.
Karen. Hi, Arkansas.
Hey, Judith.
Hey, welcome.
Hi,
to the call.
Karen. Hey.
Welcome to the call.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, Steve. This is Lavelle.
Hey, Lavelle, how's it going?
Good, thank you.
Good to have you on the call. Thank you. Welcome. Who else is with us?
Dayton, New York.
Welcome to the call.
Good evening, Kiepa Florida.
Welcome to the call, Pierre.
Hello, this is Ed Wallace from Florida.
Hello, Ed.
Hi, Ed.
Hey, how you doing?
Terrific. How about yourself?
This is Don, Kansas City.
Hey, welcome. How's it going?
Thank you. Hi.
Welcome to the call. Good. Thank you for joining us. Who else is with us? Welcome to the call.
Ray Pepper from Escanova.
Welcome to the call. Welcome. Glad to have you with us. And who else is joining us?
Ray from New York.
I don't think you heard me.
Welcome. Who are you?
Thank you.
Forrest.
Yes, we heard you, Forrest. You said hello.
Hi, Forrest.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good, thanks.
Forrest.
Hi, Forrest.
Yes?
Welcome to the call. Who else is joining us?
Here.
Good to have you on the call, Forrest. Glad you're with us. That's Forrest
Here's
from
the
Austin.
house in Tennessee.
Judith from Austin. Welcome to the call.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we're enjoying our members' television, I guess. Well, good to hear. Good
The
to hear
recording has
television.
started.
I don't want to miss the news.
Yeah, right.
Oh, boy.
I see that. They help,
What's there to miss?
members help us out by putting their TVs on. That's very good. Thank you. Who else is joining?
Jerry Sherrill, North Carolina.
Hey, welcome to the call. How you doing?
All righty.
Good to have you call. Hello, welcome to the call.
It's Dwight Anderson, South Dakota.
Dwight Anderson from South Dakota, welcome to the call. We're so glad to have you joining us. Who else is with us? Let me make sure I acknowledge you. Who's there?
Hi, Digger. Hi, Charlie.
Juanita.
Hi, Juanita. Hi, Juanita.
Welcome to the call.
Hi, Digger. Thank
Hi,
you.
how you doing? How you doing?
Doing good. How are you
All right,
doing?
doing great. I am doing
sound
good.
Ooh.
Yee, doggies.
Wrestling energy.
Golly.
All right. That's John Power we're feeling.
That's the son and a child of the past. Just call me Gomer Pyle. Yeah. Ooh. I think Andy Griffith did that too, but that's okay. Who else is with us? Welcome to the call.
Hello, Steve, Charlie, everyone. This is Irma.
Irma, hey, how's it going?
Hey,
Oh, rough, Steve, rough.
Now, Irma, I hope you heard it this morning. You got to get to Larry Johnson's clubhouse this weekend. I hope you heard it.
I cannot make it.
You gonna make it?
I texted him. I told him I can't make it. Yeah.
Oh, all right, okay. I'm sorry to hear that. I know I did the announcement this morning, so good.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Okay.
you know.
All right. We're having a little gathering on the 16th, so hopefully you can join that.
Say that again?
We're going to have, Sage will announce it to you, we're having a nice brunch on the 16th for the holidays, so hopefully you can make that.
Okay, good. Where's that going to be? Please don't tell me the way down in Berkeley.
I told them to bring it up from Red Bank. I said that was too far. Bring it towards Newark in that area. So I said, Red Bank is out. I'm not going down the shore.
Oh, okay. All right.
So he said that he was going to bring it up north a little bit more.
Oh, okay. No, the 16th I can make it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Sunday. It's a brunch. Be nice.
Oh, okay.
And anybody else is in anybody who's in Airview, you'll be able to join us if you like. It'll be nice. Okay.
Alrighty.
New Jersey wants to have a little luncheon to get us ready for the end of the year.
Okay.
Who else is joining us? Welcome to the call.
Wyoming.
Welcome to the call, Wyoming. Welcome.
Hey, Dennis. Hey, there you are. California.
California, you're in the house.
Michigan.
Michigan, Will, welcome to the call.
You're just...
Good. James from Brooklyn, New York.
Hey, welcome to the call.
The Q&A session has started. To ask your question, please press *6.
Steve Digger Fagan and Charlie Moore, and tonight is the Rise of Neotech. Thanks for joining us. Now, tonight we have a lot to cover, but we're going to do it in sections. We're going to go right into the program. We're going to be working on the literature, and we're going to have Q&A sessions right throughout the whole time. We will do this as long as it takes. If it's an hour and a half, we'll stop at an hour and a half. If it goes to 2 hours, we'll go to 2 hours. But I'm going to give you a lot of material that I want you to absorb and understand, and I think 90 minutes is probably going to be better for that than just focusing 100% only on the one subject. 90 minutes is a good time. So, welcome to the call. Charlie, how's it going?
Going good, Steve. You?
I am great. I am so excited. We had today was really one of the best seniors programs. I tell you, I love that senior program. I'm so thankful for all of you who come on it, because we had a dynamic Q&A section. I had books all over my desk. We were going into the books and the material. We were showing how to dissect reading the material, highlight what the words mean. We got into direction processes and programs, and I'll tell you, it was a very powerful program. So Ask the Mentor is off to a good start. I'm very excited about it. And our members, I got 5 phone calls from members after the call thanking me for the segment, that they were finally getting to understand the material by the way it was being presented. So we're going to do it again in 2 weeks and see how it turns out. So we'll go from there. So I'm excited. I am. But tonight, Rise of Neotech. Many of us have the book. Hopefully everybody on this call has the book. But some of you may not, because I knew you came into this program before the book was brought out, and it wasn't a prerequisite for those who have been on this program before. However, I recommend the book to everybody, The Rise of Neotech. And as many of you know, and I've talked about this, that Dr. Wallace wrote this book in the late 70s, early 80s. Now, when I say I wrote this book, he didn't write this book. He wrote several books, which just encumbers into this book. Mark put this together representing him, and this is his writings. And one of the concerns was, and it comes up in the writings we're going to talk about tonight, that this was pornography. He addresses in the book, and I'm going to read that to you, that this is not pornography. It's understanding that we have to know the physical, mental, emotional parts of who we are. And that includes our genitals, everybody. Got to be in the game. I kept avoiding it, but I can't do that anymore as a mentor. We got to put him out there. He had the ruler and the size, and he went for it. But it doesn't mean it was a porn factor. What he's trying to explain was that parts of our bodies, our blood system, our erotic system, our mental system, our reasoning system, all are connected. And if we're going to be integrated men and women, well, we've got to know the whole damn thing. And stop the prejudice and being such prudes. And you know, I was a prude because I haven't really addressed it in this call. We've done some of it, but I've been soft pedaling it and laying under the carpet. And Guy, by the way, I don't care if you're 88, 89, 90 years old, you're still a sexual being. I'm a sexual being. We all are. Because that's part of our makeup. Doesn't matter how old you are. We all have it. And it makes sense to me that we have to explore all the parts. So as a lead-in to our call tonight, I'm going to be putting it all out there. And we're going to have Q&A. And if you're offended, sorry, it goes with the territory. And I happen to accept it. So, Charlie, you have any comments as a lead-in before we get started? Because I'm going to hit it hard, and we're going to have to, because I have been avoiding it. We're not doing it anymore. We're going in this.
Yes, we have been avoiding it ever since this book came out. But it's time. It is time. We are all adults here.
Exactly.
Exactly
right.
So, yeah, you know, and basically to understand Psyche-Wish Pleasures, you have to get into this. Really, truly, I mean, that's what this whole book is about, Psyche-Wish Pleasures. Something that we have never experienced in our life because of the way this world is set up. So, I mean, this is groundbreaking stuff here. It really is.
You know, I'm glad you said that because in a way, in 2018, it is still groundbreaking material.
It is.
Because even the kids being educated and all really don't get into the psychological part as well as the physical part that Dr. Wallace does. And the advanced concepts of romantic love, guys, is sexual. It's a big breakdown of sexuality, and we're going to focus on that. And I'm going to go over the percentages again. Now, I did this once before, but I'm doing it in more detail tonight as a lead-in to all the concepts. Because I want to tell you, we're going to be working with sections 2, 3, and 4 of this manuscript as our lead-in to the 146 concepts. Then, over the next 2-3 months, or however long we have this program, I can't promise it's going to extend that long, we will continue to read and study the concepts. Okay? And study on those. Just like we did the advantages, we're going to study the concepts on this call and get into them. This call is a Q&A call. I will stop for Q&A. We will dissect it. We will have your input. Then we'll go back into another part of the subject, and we'll do a Q&A again. This is not just me or Charlie just mentoring. I don't want to do that. It's us having dialogue back and forth. And I will be reading certain areas of the book because this is how we get to understand this material. And then we'll go from there. So let's continue. Let's get going. We're starting with Section 2, which is on page 8 of our manuscript. And you've got to go to Section 2, which starts with definitions. We've been working on the definitions up to tonight. So tonight we start with Section 2. And it says, all of the 146 advanced concepts of romantic love that are developed in this manuscript have either a direct or an indirect bearing on romantic love, psyche-wish pleasures, and long-range happiness. Each concept is oriented around one of the 10 classifications that he addresses. And let's look at the classifications. The first classification, he puts it right out there, sex and love, or sexuality and love. 37 of the 146 concepts focus on sex and love. 37. It's a good piece. That's 25%. Number 2, psychological, or psyche. 23 of the 146, equaling 15%. Philosophy. 26 of the 146, which is 17%. Aesthetic, with our aesthetics and physiological, 9, just 9 of them, has to do with just 6%. Sociological, doing with interrelationships and sociological society, 17, which is 11%. Political and religion, 14 of them. And we're going to get into those, definitely political and religion. They'll be focused on that, which is 9.5%. Women's liberation, marriage and children. That is 8 of the concepts at 5%. Education, evaluation, and information, 7, which is 4%. History, reference, and literature, 4, which is 2.7%. And then he's got miscellaneous, which is just 1. It's a general one, which is 7%. He says to us that this section separates each of the 146 advanced concepts into one of the above detailed classifications. We're going to have the breakdown. The reader can become briefly acquainted with each of these advanced concepts by scanning through them, looking at sections 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're looking at them, and I've looked at these sections. I'm not going to elaborate on each one of these sections because we're going to get into the concepts, but you do need to look at them. He talks about romantic books. There's a whole section on all these sexual romantic books, and he gives you his analysis of it. So you go in there and do that. You don't need me to do that. And then he talks about actually getting the foundations for the 146 advantages of these areas, of these sections, 3, 4, and 5. Now, he does tell us they should be read in chronological order. Just like we learned how to use the 114 advantages, he's telling us these concepts should be read the same way. And guess what? That's what we're going to do. We're going to read them in chronological order. We've skipped around because, I'll be honest, I was picking out. I was cherry picking because I didn't want to hit certain ones. Well, those days are over, and we're going to go right from one to the other. And now Charlie has already done 1 and 2, so we'll continue with 3 when we're ready. He tells us that the sequence of information in this book has been designed to build the context, background, and proofs needed to understand, accept, and use all of the advanced concepts of romantic love. He's very adamant that this romantic love process is a major factor of our growth. So for everybody who's even in their 80s, and I know we have you on the call, late 70s, you'll say, I gave up sex. Well, guess what? You're going to get sexual again. You're going to get excited again. You're going to get motivated again. Because nobody should stop. And he's trying to say love is in the air. Love is for everybody. Maybe even for me. Who knows? That could be exciting if I ever get it. But, you know, it's opportunity that's out there. And I don't think we have ourselves programmed. So let's talk for a minute. Let me get off the book. I hate reading like that. It really bugs me to have to read paragraphs. It annoys me. So because, you know, I know some people critique me, but you know, you're not in kindergarten. You're all adults. You can read for yourself. But let's learn what's in the reading, right? Don't you want to be mentored on that instead of me just sitting there reading to you? Oh, I just don't believe you want me to sit there and read. But, you know, we all have a right for love. We all have a right for romance. We all have a right to be partnered. And if we've become widowed or widower, it doesn't mean that life stops then. You know, I think that's one of the negatives about religion that bothers me. People really believe if you've lost your life partner through death or even divorce, you give up, especially death. I've had the love of my life. I don't want to have it anymore. Why? Why would you not want it anymore? You know, I have a story I have to say. I was thinking about this as I was reading. It was before I was born, but my grandmother, my father's mother, had, she was married, had two boys, my father and my uncle, and she was a widow in her really early 30s. So during the Depression, she was a single mother, and she worked and raised 2 kids, and then the 2 boys went on to the war during World War II. While they were away, she met a man. Now, remember, she'd been a widow for almost 15 years. And she was still young. You know, she was still in her 40s. And met a man who's, from what my mother said, was a very nice gentleman. Well, my uncle came home from the war, and he was adamant that she should break up the relationship because she was already married at one time, and she would be against her husband, etc., who died 15 years earlier. Well, you know, she broke up the relationship. And she was never married again. She was single from then on, never involved with anybody. And I always, after I heard the story, I didn't think much of it, but I was reading this material. And I said, we all should have love. Yes, we have our children, we have our family, I have my sons, but we should have love in our lives, right? And we should be with somebody we care about, and we can share our secrets with, share our down moments. I always think to myself, after a long day, like on the calls, etc., interactions, wouldn't it be nice just to sit with somebody, have a cup of tea, and just chat about what happened during the day, and then go to bed? Imagine having a chance to just sit and chat. I think it would be wonderful, and I hope someday I have that. But it's something we all have to strive for, and I want everybody to say that, strive for it. If you're single, why? Why are you there? Because Dr. Wallace found the perfect love of his life the second time, right? Didn't he? Dr. Wallace had beautiful Rosa Maria Wallace. If many of you met her, which you have, she's an amazing woman. And he was fortunate to go for second time for love and didn't give up. And even in writings that she does, she oozes that romance and that sensuality, etc. She just has that when she talks about him because they were very much in love. And it didn't stop him from writing or doing what he needed to do, and she understood that. And I think all of us out there, and I guess I'm talking to a lot of the single people, why are we single? Are we single because we put a wall up? Are we single? And I'll be honest with you, for me, it is a wall. I do put a wall up because I'm very scared about getting in a relationship again because I've had bad experiences. Do I want somebody to get that close to me? I'm not sure. I don't feel that way, but yet I yearn for it. And all of you should also, in that sense. So for the singles out there, we have to talk about it. I know there's a singles program, but this process should be part of the singles program, I think. For all of you singles, Bob and all you out there, you should be using this book as part of your information for your singles call. Because this is about people falling in love. Romance. It's a great, great piece of manuscript to use. So, I'm hoping you see that and see that value as our foundation. And Dr. Wallace is trying to tell you and I to really put the whole process out. And I will tell it for our members who have relationships, and if your partners are ill, etc., make sure you're falling in love every day. It's frustrating, aggravating. You got to go to doctors, you got to go to rehabs, but tell them you love her. Tell them you love him. Did you get a rose for them that day? Just go out and just get a rose. Say, this is for you. They're having a tough day. Get some flowers, get a rose, even if it's just one. It's something visible to show your love. Visibility is good, right? We talk about visibility. Be romantic. Get a card. Just say, you're as beautiful as you were when you were younger. You are more beautiful now. And the person could be going through challenges, but get a little card and saying, you are as beautiful as the day I met you. And in many ways, you're more beautiful than ever. And I tell you, you make it out be $1 million. These are what wealth means, by the way, everybody. It's always not just about money. You have wealth by the person who's sitting next to you or in the other room right now who may not be with you right now. That's your wealth. That's your beauty. That's what the world's about. Dr. Wallace is trying to tell us that through this manuscript. Love is beautiful. Love is phenomenal. But love is physical. We are men with bodies, women with bodies. The bodies are connected for a certain way. Our development. And that's an important factor to look at. Okay? We know we have the homosexual world. We know we have the transsexual world. No, we won't get into all of that. But we'll get into our different bodies. And we bring our feelings and our thoughts to each other as a sign of love for each other. And that's important to know. It really is. It's very important to know. And you can do that. I think these books will help you. All of you who are still single out there, I hope you read the 146 concepts very, very carefully. I hope you put them into practice and you open your life and your heart and your Neothink mentality to others to join you. Doesn't mean it has to be a Neothink member. And by the way, be careful. We talk about Neothink members, and all I do is sort of half-kiddingly. I think it's important, but you may not find that person in Neothink. That doesn't mean you have to stay single till you find a Neothinker. Put yourself out there. Go ahead. Meet somebody. But stay true to who you are. Stay true to you. So what I want to do now is I'm going to do as an intro. I'm going to ask Charlie what he'd like to share and what's going on in his life. I just shared about mine. And we'll open the lines for what do you think about finding love? Do you think working with your partner is a good process or not? Let's dig into that first part of tonight. Charlie, your thoughts?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on it, but it's if we go back on our past, when was the happiest times of your life since you became an adult? And I would think it would be the times that you were in love with someone. Maybe you had a couple of divorces or whatever, but there was times in those marriages where the two of you were in love with each other, and that was a very special time in your life. You know, I've had some serious relationships over the years, a couple of divorces, and there was really some great years in those marriages. And then obviously there wasn't great years every year. But those times are very special, and, you know, out of the 4 serious relationships I've had, 3 of them, I still talk to them. You know, I still have some sort of a relationship with them. Because we had such great times together at certain parts of our relationship. And now I am staying with someone who's in this society. So now I do have a woman that I love who's neophyte. And I'm very excited about that. It's a whole different level as far as I'm concerned. And, you know, and I can't believe how honest we have been with each other in such a short period of time. But it just fit. It's like it's like this. It was like it was meant to be, or something. You know, the universe or something had something to do with this as far as getting us together. So it's always a bumpy road, but we have to put ourselves out there, as Steve said, because there is nothing better than being in love with someone and that person loving you back. That is the best days of our lives. And again, I'm no kid here, and you know, and I'm starting off in a whole new relationship at 68 years old, and I haven't been this happy in years. So don't let anything stop you on it, but this book can really help you as far as just, you know. You know, I was just reading this article today about what these crazy people on the left believe in, and you know, right now nobody has sex because everybody's a transgender, and you can't. Because if you say that there's a difference between men and women, then you're basically are racist and narrow-minded. And then you go to a book like the one that we're looking at right now, The Rise of Neotech, and we see all this reality and logic staring us in the face, where we have a whole political party who has no logic whatsoever. They are denying logic. And if you believe in logic, you're a racist and everything else that goes with it. It's absolutely incredible how we have gone way off track here. But this is a book I think that's very, very important for all of us. And we have been avoiding it, and it's time that, you know, it's time to dig in now and figure out what this is all about. So, Steve, I'm anxious on this too. You know, I think it's time for us to really, really get involved with this, and I'm anxious to hear what everybody out there thinks about it also. I'm going to open up the lines.
Yes, let's open the lines and hear what our members have to say. Star 6, and let's hear from you. We'd love to hear from everybody. Star 6, everybody.
Let's go to Dennis.
Yes, Dennis.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
You know, I think this is a very important section because for me, I've been single, well, come January, 20 years. But I have interacted with the opposite sex in many ways. But what I came to realize when I got into neothinking and started studying this, I had 2 previous divorces and then a long-term marriage. So I did the failure thing, and I did whatever you could consider to be successful. But, I've known, but didn't always understand, we're sexual creatures. We are driven by sexual energy. Now, whether, if you want to put that in terms of what you do in bed or whatever, I think it's more dynamic than that. And, when I look at this, I'm getting a really strong message about sexual energy on a personal level and then on a sharing level. There has to be the dynamics. First, you have to be one with yourself and learn all that encompasses your sexuality, the energy that drives you, and be open to it. Now, that leads you into the second dynamic with another person. And, my view, the universe is set up on duality. The laws of physics, it's all duality. And basically, from some of the understandings that I have, a man is a negative, or a man is a positive, and a woman is a negative. Now, that's not in terms of good and bad. That's in terms of polarity. They naturally attract to each other. And we have to be real about that. I've been single a long time because I went through some bad stuff, and just in the last 4 years, I've begun to understand things that I never understood before. I'm going to turn 65 in January. And I'm totally open to the idea of having someone in my life again. The relationships that I've had many relationships. I've been married 3 times, and I can think back on the first marriage there was a lot of really beautiful stuff there, but I was too immature to understand what I was involved in. So you had the pink cloud of misunderstanding, and everything's beautiful, the flowers are pretty, and you didn't really understand what was going on, because I don't think I was in touch with my consciousness then. I think I was just going with feelings. And, exploring this, I read Running with Genius. I think Rosa Marie is a fascinating woman, and her thinking is so beautiful. And then I was looking at the way she viewed Dr. Wallace, and I thought about all that I had learned in the Wallace writings. And, who wants to miss out on a relationship like that? There's going to be your own personal touches, yeah, but who wants to miss out on that? And why be afraid of it? Pain is a part of life. We're going to make mistakes. But we're not made to be alone. We're not meant to be alone. And if we allow our whatever's, whether it's religious indoctrinations or resentments or anything else, fear of failure, all those things that come into play, keep us back from it, well, I think we're going to be missing a dynamic in our life that's needed, because there's a contribution that 2 partners make to each other in their growth. Now, I understand that, some of us will meet a neothink partner, and some of us will meet a partner that may not be neothink, that could eventually become neothink due to exposure, whatever. But we have a sexual energy, and when we begin to understand that energy, romance becomes every part of our life. I mean, when I think about the way I dive into the literature, I'm romantically involved in it. When I think about the things that I love to do, I become romantically involved with it. It's exciting. It's It's an energy that I believe we were created with to create. It's such a dynamic part of us that to shut it down over ideology or anything else would be a serious error, to die in resentment or regret. And of course, these are my opinions. I have much deeper things on it, but you know, sharing a journey with another is exciting, and you get opened up to other ideas. And I think there's something to be said to that. I'm not afraid to tell people I love them because I'm sincere, and it doesn't always mean I have an intimate relationship with them. But if we're contributing values to each other on whatever level, personal, business, family, you have to ask yourself, are you romantically involved with yourself? Do you love yourself enough that you're romanticizing your own life? And if you are, then you're open to sharing that with others. Not everybody's going to like you, that's life. You know, they're not going to always be on your level. But I don't know, there's a lot here, and I think it would be worth the exploration and the digging into really understanding how that energy works as a dynamic in our life. And that's all I wanted to add right now. I'm excited we're doing this because I think we'll all get a better, deeper understanding of our own person in order to share with another person. I think that's important. Thank you.
Thank you. And you're hitting a good point there, Dennis. This is our first step into getting into the romantic concepts. I want to know, are we ready for this section? You know, many of us took on the 114 advantages cold because we didn't know anybody. Well, now we have a chance of getting to be comfortable with ourselves and why we're taking on this subject. Remember, Dr. Wallace, again, did get remarried. We know Trace Alexander was his first wife. We know that what she did. But he also moved into living with Rosa and marrying Rosa Maria. And many of us who know Rosa Maria know the loving relationship they had because she shares it. She has a wonderful book running with geniuses. And, you know, I think this is a great way to get started, everybody. So let's come do raise hands on this. If we're going to do this book right, let's take the steps to do it right. I'll be honest with you. I'm learning how to present this book. I like the book a lot, but I have been struggling how to present it really in the way it should be presented. And you may know that I've been a little shy with it. We've done a lot of material, but it's been kind of scattered. So I think by us, if it takes tonight to get to know ourselves as Neo thinkers, to get ready for these 114 concepts, and Dr. Wallace is talking about love and connections and relationship, we got to know, are we ready for it? Because it's going to get embarrassing, some of it. And I think we have to be prepared for that. So today's our preparation night, and I would like you to please, all of you, many of you, star 6. Let's hear where you are with relationships and what you're doing, or even if they weren't good ones. Where are you now? Have you finally are you healed from them, or are you still struggling from them? And where do you see when it comes to the concept of romance, along with sex, along with friendships? All of it comes together. So, Dennis, thank you. You got us on the track, and more people are raising their hands. Excellent. Okay, I don't know if Charlie's still there. We lose him? All right, I'm gonna take you off. James, you're on?
Yes.
Yes,
Can
sir,
you hear
you're
me?
on. Now we can. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, all right, here. Listen.
Oh, okay.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on. Go ahead, James.
Oh, good, good. All right, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Fantastic and amazing, especially after Alex. I'm new to the club, all right?
Oh, well, welcome. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, all right? I've been prepared for this all my life, though. This is not, it's interesting the way that this thing panned out. I want to discuss something, though, having to do with the rise of Neo thinking. And what is being exposed here is an opportunity to build character. We want to look at it from one angle, which is the sexual angle or the angle of the relationship, but it's more about gender and energy and how to express this energy and how to build a relationship that actually strengthens your character and allows you to reach a point of when you're dealing with energy in another person, we're talking about healing. All right? We're talking about integrating the thought in the same way that the documents, all of the Neothink documents talk about integrated thought as opposed to segregated. We're integrating thought of being into our lifestyle, our ability to heal, the rise of our energy. We're talking about 12 visions here. We're talking about being able to fuel the fire that gives us the ability to believe in those visions. Yeah, the sexual energy is of the energy that you need, that we need as Dawn beings, and to expand, to evolve. Listen, if it doesn't grow, it dies, all right? If our sexual curiosity, if the ability to accumulate information about how to express ourselves through sex, if it's not growing, it's dying. And we're in a society that talks about living past the point of 70. We're not dealing with that myth anymore. We're understanding cellular regeneration is part of our birthright. But that generation is fed on certain principles, and gender is one of the principles. Stop looking at this as purely sex. Let's look at it from the point of the principles of the law.
I'm going to inject something here. All these callers right now, they all know everything in this book. Because I am, just knowing how this thing's going to go, no one's going to ask no legit questions. Pay attention. Listen to the callers. They act like they know it all. They understand it all. But no questions are being asked. That's my opinion.
No, I think you're bringing another angle, which is very important. Energy, bringing on gender connections, it's more than just sex. And I happen to agree with you 100%. It's about the whole makeup of our connection to the universe and how we're made up, even how we become human beings from conception, and how how we're formed as the embryo is a very fascinating factor. Matter of fact, this might actually tell us apart when it comes to abortions or not abortions or pro-life, how the infant is born from the moment of conception and how you're developing that energy, because that's an energy field that's still inside the mother. So there's a lot of factors here that go beyond the sex. And guess what? You've just brought up, for everybody listening, you've just heard James talk about following further integrations from a concept or percept. This was a percept that was now integrated into multi-concepts. And that's a learning tool tonight. We're not just talking about sex or sexuality. We're talking about the whole connection with the universe and all of our energy fields and power fields. And that part of us is just a part of us, but it is a whole part of us if we engulf the whole factor of it. And that's where I think religion, it's another reason why I'm so against religion and churches and all. They tear down that part of us that does not make us become full people. When the more you believe in, you're not supposed to masturbate, you're not supposed to, do things at certain times, you're not supposed to touch yourself, you're supposed to think bad about it, that is taking us not to be full, acknowledged men and women. And they are sinful people, the church, very sinful. And that's one of their major sins, is not allowing us to be full human beings. And that's one of their greatest sins, besides many others. So that's why people should not be involved with organized religion. That should be burned and destroyed. We got to be full, open people. So you're opening up a new area for us that we need to look at. I'm very passionate about organized religion. It should be destroyed. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Did I lose you?
Yeah, hello? Can you hear me?
You're on, James. Go.
All right. We're talking about, when you talk about organized religion, you're talking about something that is anti-civilization.
Yep.
You're talking about something that is anti-evolution.
That's right.
As God beings, God men and God women, we're supposed to evolve.
Yes, sir.
When you're involved in any system that limits evolution, limits growth, you're dead.
See that?
You're getting stronger, you're getting weaker.
You got it. You're dying.
All right? And Neothink is a living organism. I'm grateful to be new to this because, again, I see the value of this concept, the whole concept. From Mr. Wallace and Mr. Hamilton, this is deep stuff. But it's also necessary right now in the culture that we live in because is to kill civilization, kill evolution. Destroy the ability of the planet to evolve to levels where now God, man, and God, women are creating avenues for a sexual revolution that now we understand that it's integrated into what we call, well, listen, everything, first of all, that we live in this life revolves around energy. You can call it spirit, you can call it quantum, there's a bunch of categories you can give this thing, but it's energy. And the energy itself is fine. The closest definition to the energy that holds this life in order is be love. But it's not just a physical love that we're dealing with, even though this point we're dealing with the expression of this power, what it feels like, how to know, how to integrate it into our relationships so that in order for us to experience it, we have to be of a certain character. We have to treat each other with a certain kindness, with a certain respect, in the light of a certain truth. You're in a relationship, then the truth has to grow in that relationship in order for two people to stay together. I've been in relationships where I wasn't the truth. I was still caught up in my lust and my and a bunch of resentment from old relationships. I had to get rid of all that stuff in order for me to be in the type of relationship I am now with myself and then with my partner. And it's a growing, evolving relationship. If you keep doing the same things over and over again, after a while it gets dull. You're not evolving. You're dying. Why would I leave out the sexual encounter that I have with my mate, with my wife? Why would I not want that to grow? Why would I not want to feel more pleasure, more harmony, more balance? There's a certain rhythm that builds with the information that we get, not only through Neotech and Neothink, but don't isolate yourself from going. If it's tantra, yoga, if it's whatever it is to that point of integrating yourself into the spirit of the life itself, whatever it is, work with it. But this is a good foundation. It's an excellent foundation that we're working with here. We can't just look at it as just sex, though. We have to look at it from the position of energy, of the evolution of relationships. Your relationship should be evolving. If you're not in a relationship, don't be afraid to get, and don't be afraid to lose. You can never lose in pursuing any type of relationship with a man or a woman, depending on who you are. And I'm not into any relationship that kills civilization. That if I can't, listen, I have nothing to do with anyone personally, whatever your choices are. But two men are against the idea of gender, which is always manifested in any creation. You always have a male principle and a female principle in the manifestation of anything, creation of anything.
Wow, James. You gave quite a bit of information. Now, stay where you're at. Stay where you're at. Let's hold it there. You gave us a lot of material, very good integrations for a guy who's fairly new. You're really on target on many of this, and I think you opened up further dialogue. So just stay with us. You can come back a little later if you like, but let's see what other members have to say. Excellent job. All right, good. Charlie, what do you think?
Wow, yeah. What he's really talking about, too, and I'll follow up with this, this whole book is based on succubus pleasures. Not one human being ever knew what that was. Because basically what it is, it's mentally, physically, and emotionally. All those go together. We have lived our lives and loved people with looking at those three things as separate energies and not putting them all together. So we never had a psychic pleasure couples out there or marriages, ever. Nobody even knows what that is because nobody ever put them together. And that's what Frank R. Wallace has done. So this is, as I said, this whole book is groundbreaking, and there's so many different ways that you can look at it. And James did a great job of all the different ways that you can look at it. It's an amazing. I'm just starting to feel some of these psychic pleasures now, and I know I haven't even scratched the surface yet. And because we were never allowed to be happy. The church made sex a dirty thing, so even if we enjoyed it, then we felt guilty about it. I mean, it's crazy it's crazy what they have done to our mentalities over these thousands of years, where we can't even look at, we have all lived with this altruism, with sacrifice. Instead of looking at life as being pleasurable and being happy, we were supposed to sacrifice and sacrifice and sacrifice and not have any pleasures, because that's how they control us. And this whole book is turning that whole thing right around. And just look at the world today. They don't want you to have pleasures at all. They don't even want you to have a sex identity anymore. There is no genders anymore. Well, how can we have babies if there's no genders anymore? But anyway, James, thank you. Let's go to Elaine. Go ahead, Elaine.
Hi, Elaine.
Elaine?
You're on.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I really, between the two guys, I don't really know of another thing to majorly add to it. But there's something that one of my loves said to me at one point. As far as fear goes, or being afraid to be too close, or whatever. And he said, who better to make mistakes with? Who better to make these mistakes with, if you're going to make them? Someone you love, someone who loves you, someone who cares how you feel. If there's a problem or whatever, you can see and discuss and live it through. But who better to make mistakes with has always stuck with me. So that's all I really have to offer. We give our wholeness to someone else without barriers. If you can be free enough to do that. And that requires an awful lot of previous exploration and informing yourself how the world works, how relationships go, and all that stuff. But the main thing is, if you have someone and you love someone and he loves you or she, think about it. Think about that statement. Who better to make mistakes with? That just floored me, and I'd never forgotten it. It's very, very true. That's really all I want to add at this point.
Well, thank you. I'm making a list of things that are coming up. And Elaine, I heard we give our wholeness to someone else. I like that. But we have to have our wholeness and be aware of it and acknowledging ourselves. You can't do it when we're not aware of all of who we are.
That's exploration before.
Exactly. And that's what we're in right now is the exploration.
Yeah.
And are we putting walls up to do it? And, even with exploring the 114 advantages, and let me kind of sidestep it. We had a class on the 114 advantages this morning on the seniors call. Actually, we did a exercise on it, and I was able to show how you can make your mentality change when you connect into the words and the terms, and use them in your life, and connect even Mark Hamilton's letters to those words, and how you can break through mystical ideas, and once you understand the way the terminology works.
Yeah.
You see, everybody, that's part of us becoming aware. Elaine says awareness. Awareness is crucial. We cannot be whole people unless we're aware of who we are. And that includes, I hate to say it, the warts and all. Every bit of our bodies and everything, the moles, every cell, you got to know about them. I don't know about you, but twice a year I go to the dermatologist, and I get every part of me checked. I want to know if anything I can't see or whatever is affecting my living. And I'm very adamant about that, the skin and everything. So it's not only the skin, now I look at what's inside the skin and what's in part of it. And we have to be thinking this way. Neo-think is about integration. We've got to all be in an integrated mindset and connecting. And what James just brought up and what we've just heard from Dennis and yourself, Elaine, we're hearing terms and processes we should be addressing. So I hope you see we're building a ladder now with these input tonight. And that's going to get us ready for the concepts. So,
yeah.
Elaine, thank you. So
I really love listening to the two guys, and I'd like to hear more from other people, too.
Same here. So we got a lot of hands raised, so let's see what we can find out.
Great.
All right. Great job, Elaine. Thank you. I'm really getting into this program. I hope everybody is. We got a lot to cover, and we got a lot of time yet, so let's go for it.
Thanks, Elaine. Great stuff. I like that.
Yep.
Synchronicity with
Yeah.
the person you love is absolutely incredible. Let's go to Karen.
Okay. Wow. I just see this differently, but that's okay. I believe this manuscript should be read by teenagers and young adults. I mean, they read other sex manuals to begin with that probably don't say hardly anything they really need to know. Rise of Neotext has such an in-depth information that I wish I had been given earlier in life. The first time I read the advanced concepts, I had so many aha moments as to why my relationships failed or had difficulty. Dr. Wallace's explanations were so clear to me concerning the dynamics of relationships. I believe that this information would be so beneficial, so valuable to anyone, especially the younger ones, so that they can acquire that knowledge that they need to navigate the psychic pleasures.
Yeah. This is
I agree with you. But can we stop a second, Charlie, before we go further? What is it going to do for you? I want to stay inside each one of us.
Okay.
So what do you see by the psychics? I'm sure you've read some of them because I know you're doing a lot of the reading.
Yeah.
So, but jump ahead a little bit. What have you seen is happening to help you about living pro-life, pro-existence? And I'm not talking about pro-life versus abortion. I'm talking living life for the fullest. That's what I mean by that. So where does it come? Where does it come from you? And do you see the awareness of having it as being part of your life, and then offering yourself, which is what Elaine said, we're giving our wholeness to somebody else. How open are you to do that, or are you already doing it?
Well, I'm becoming a lot more open to people. I've found that in my relationships before, that I was a very strong person even before I found out who I was. And it made it very difficult to have someone that was like equal to me or actually stronger than I was. I found one guy that I thought was really strong, and I really enjoyed that relationship until the finances kind of fell apart, and he just kind of fell apart with it. And so my strength, rose up because I'm going to survive, however I can, and that just didn't work out. So I've been single for about 24 years now, and I've grown into myself to where I'm, pretty comfortable with myself. It would be nice to have a guy. It'd be really nice to have a gardener or, a handyman. But I think it's going to be difficult to find the right kind of person to match my personality. I know, there's somebody out there. I do miss, I had a lot of wonderful relationships. I had, the beauty of being in love. There were some pretty hellacious moments too, but I kind of had both sides. I've always thought about, how it would be to have, that person that fits you and matches you and is, your other half type person, and how awesome that would be. So, I always look towards that. But I'm happy enough, and independent enough to be by myself too. So, but you do miss the closeness, and like you said.
Here's my question about what they're talking about. Are relationships more based on control? Who's going to control? Is it more or less manipulating each other? Is it more or less control of the control of the relationship? Is it more about control? Is it more about manipulating your partner? Those questions have not been asked, but I'm asking it.
Death in our family, death with a spouse or our partner, death with a lover. We all have something currently with somebody, so we're all at different degrees, but we understand that. But even if we're in a relationship, we can make that relationship even better by understanding ourselves more and what we're about. So, I mean, even like Charlie brought up that he has a relationship. I mean, he's probably going to be exploring to make it even better now because he's in something he really sees is going to be valuable for him and the partner. So that's important.
I'm learning. I learned through the advanced concepts of how to relate to somebody else. In that type of relationship and the dynamics that are going on that I really never knew before, and so that I know that future relationships would be so much better because of what I've learned in the advanced concepts.
You got it, exactly. So I think that's very important that we're understanding all this for everybody listening tonight, because in order for us to understand the rise of Neotech, we've got to start understanding ourselves a little bit more and be more open to really learning this. I think that's one of the reasons why I think in the past it's been so difficult, because I haven't opened myself to this new exploration. And I have to do that too. So I'm just on the journey, just like the rest of you. And we're all working. So we all step back. Yeah, we really are, because that's why I think I've been putting my toe in the water with this manuscript. But I gotta put my all in there. I'm admitting it on the recording. I got to do it, and we're going to. But this is our first step tonight. So thank you. And I'll share myself about my situation, and too, I have no problem with that. Everybody knows my life story, but we will address that. So it's not an issue. And I'll bring it up because I think it's important that we look at all aspects, and I can bring another aspect to the table. So it will be fascinating. But let's continue on. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you.
But if we were raised understanding succubus pleasures, you realize that there would be no divorces. If you were raised with Neothink and Neotech, we all would know ourselves. We would all have our finite essences. Because until you really find your finite essence, you have no idea who you are.
Right.
So how can you love someone if you don't? Like if you don't know who you are, how can you expect to have somebody else open up to you if you're not opening up to them? And that's one thing I've found so far. Even though the relationship I'm in now is rather new, what I found though is it's just so comfortable because I can be myself here. Because I know myself more now than I ever have in the past, and now that I'm with another Neothink person, I can just relax and be, so it's like we've been together for years and we've only been together about a month. But it's just, I understand who I am more now than ever. She understands more than she does, about herself, and we can both be ourselves. So it's been very open as far as telling our feelings and things I would never have imagined telling her. Because there's a lot of things I never talked about to any woman, even though I was in love many times. But we have to find out who we are first to make all this work with somebody else. And that's, everything ties in here between Neothink and Neotech. Everything fits. It's just one big puzzle. We have to put it together. So learning your finite essence is such a big part of this. You really start to find out who you are. Once that happens, man, I tell you, it just opens up so many other possibilities for you. Thank you, Karen. Great stuff.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Moving forward. Thank you, Karen. What else we got?
Andrea, go ahead.
Yes, Andrea.
Okay. Well, I tell you, we do have a lot of hang-ups. The one thing I wanted to talk
Wait a minute, wait.
is that when you were mentioning organized religion and what it did to us mentally and how it interferes with every aspect of our life, and that includes sex and any kind of a relationship we have with anybody, is that I was always taught that, once you got married, it was supposed to be forever. You're not supposed to have more than one husband, more than one mate. So if something doesn't work out, you feel like it was wasted time. But I don't really feel that way. I feel that everybody that comes into your life for a reason, and they make you a better person. You grow as a person, even if the relationship or the marriage doesn't last. They still sort of add a piece to the puzzle that is really you. And it's really hard to understand this. I mean, I've been married for 36 years, but I'm starting to question why. Because am I married because I was just told you don't get a divorce? It's really just, is it external authorities that make me stay in such a long marriage? Not that it hasn't been happy, but it has been unhappy at times. Who really has been controlling me all my life? I mean, is it really me making my own decisions? And I really don't know. And then what is meant by a soulmate? That's another thing. I could never find the answer to that in that book. I think Dr. Wallace found that with his second wife because he seemed to have all four aspects that you should have in a healthy relationship. Not just the physical sex, you're supposed to have the emotional connection with each other. You're supposed to have a meeting of the mind and a meeting of the spirits, too. And when you have all four, then I guess that means you found your soulmate. Because how many people are married and you say you get along physically, but you never have a meeting of the mind? Or you just never really open up to each other. I mean, there are people that are married to each other, and you feel like you're married to a stranger. So this is so confusing. But I see that for the longest part of my life, I was being controlled by outside thoughts put into my mind instead of me making my own decisions. So this is so complicated.
Yes. It is complicated, it's confusing, it's called getting out of your comfort zone and growing. Congratulations, you're growing. And it's confusing. And by the way, 37 years of marriage, you're going to have bad times. That's the facts. It's going to get rocky as well as it gets good. But 37 years, congratulations, you're sticking it out and you're working through it. And it might be for the right thing. But stuff happens. That is great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Since we all came from the AC world, everything is confusing us when we come to Neothink and Neotech because this all makes sense here, and we were never taught to think logical. So it does get confusing at times. But look, every day I learn more and more about how they have controlled our lives. I really have. Every day I learn something about me that I wouldn't have had if I was raised in a sea of you. Almost every day, it's amazing how they have just completely controlled everything that we do in every facet, and it's always been the wrong advice. Thank you, Andrea.
You're welcome.
Let's go to Forrest.
Hi, guys. I just noticed that there was one person that commented on this subject tonight, and he mentioned something about maturity. And that's what I kind of want to talk about to begin with. But you ask the question, maturity, when does it begin? I believe that maturity begins at different times for different people, and that no one can make this happen for another person. Many of us are not even mature when we get married for the first time, like in our early 20s, or maybe sometimes we get married when we're 16, and that's definitely not the best time to get
Oh, we just lost him.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Okay, well, he'll come back. Anybody else?
Let's go to 8399.
This is Sonia.
Hey, Sonia.
Yes.
Psychosis pleasure or sexual love has always been controversial, but it's part of life. We all came to be here by the same method. Many people have controversial situations and divorces and have decided to stay away from new relations out of fear. I will say to give yourself the opportunity to start over. Not every person you meet is the same. We are all different, and you might find that person you have been looking for all your life, and you are denying yourself that wonderful feeling of being in love. Love is like walking in the universe. It's like walking in a cloud. It's like being struck by lightning when you meet the right person, and you go out there together to make discoveries. Love is like walking through a maze. So go out there and find that person who is waiting for you. That person is not going to knock on your door. Go for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for being so specific. Thanks a lot, Sonia.
Thanks.
Let's go back to Forrest. Go ahead, Forrest.
Forrest.
Yeah, I just wanted to finish. I don't know how we got disconnected, but something happened. I didn't push any.
I think I did that by mistake. But go ahead. I think I did.
Well, anyway, many of us, as I was saying, are not really mature when we get married for the first time. Some of us get married at a very early age, like 16, 17, or 18, and our minds are not even developed fully enough to understand the meaning of marriage and what it's all about. That's not maturity. I got married for the first time when I was 26 years old. But you know, marriage is a learning experience. So the question that comes up is this. What is love? What is it? Is it just a feeling, or is it something more than that? Is it just a sexual attraction, or is it something that you see in a person's face or in their eyes? What is it? What is love? Can you be happy in a relationship when all you do is argue and be angry all the time with the other part of your marriage? What does this do to your thinking? What do you do with it? My first wife's parents were alcoholics. And you know, I thought that I could give her a better life than she had. But I had no idea how wrong I was. It turned into a marriage from hell, and it lasted for 14 years. All I wanted to do was to be happy, but I never achieved this in my first marriage. Well, 3 marriages later, they all ended the same way, and every date that I tried to make with another girl, all of them ended up lying to me. So I just didn't feel like I was smart enough to figure it out who was the best match for me until 2008, at which time I joined eHarmony. You've probably seen that advertised on television. But that's where I met Carol, my present wife, and it is a wonderful marriage. The eHarmony people, they match you with others based on 29 dimensions of compatibility. It's a computer-generated thing that people send in their information about, you know, kind of like their profile, what they like, what they don't like, and all those different things, what makes them happy. Somebody mentioned, I think it was you, Steve, talked about giving them a flower once in a while. Well, I got to the point where I was giving my wife flowers every month. And it's been a wonderful marriage, 10 happy years of it. There was one thing she mentioned to me today. We were watching a program while we ate our last meal of the day. We were watching an episode of Dr. Phil, and there was a woman on there who just could not keep from having affairs with other men. She had been with at least 30 other men while she was married to her first husband. And somehow the kids got involved in it. He told the kids some things he should never have said, but that's no way to patch up a marriage that's unhappy. But she just couldn't stop doing this to her husband. They were on the verge of divorce. I didn't watch the whole thing because I came up here to get on this call. Anyway, my wife said to me tonight, after some words that were said on the program, she said, there are only 2 perfect husbands, and you are one of them. That's what she said to me. I said, well, thank you, sweetheart. I really appreciate that. And believe me, I do, because she is a wonderful girl. She was a teacher for 36 years and elementary school teacher, grades 3 and 4. And so she's got a lot of learning experience there. And she's taught me things about how to use the computer that I had no idea how to do. So that's another positive thing, okay? And I'm just very, very happy with her. But, you know, sometimes we see a beautiful girl, men look at a beautiful girl, and they are just kind of enamored with her beauty or whatever it is. But does that mean he's being unfaithful to his wife? I don't think so. Because, you know, women like to look at beautiful flowers and smell them. Well, a man is kind of the same way. It doesn't mean he's finds an experience with somebody else, but he can appreciate the beauty of another woman. There's nothing wrong with that I can tell. So that's basically what I wanted to say, okay? Thank you much.
Thank you. It's good to hear these stories and people who are in that relationship mode or in touch with who they are. And that's what, Dr. Waltz, is one of the messages we're trying to learn. So we're learning a lot this evening. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's go to 5, 6.